back in on the drive. When is Jason Cole coming on? At 4 or right now? Okay. Yeah, we'll get Jason Cole on the phone. That's fine. My guy, Jason Cole, Yahoo Sports. I didn't even know that this story was going to happen today. I don't understand how it got to be such a big deal. Geno Smith fired his agents. Pre-draft actions shed light on why the quarterback may have dropped in the draft. Jason Cole talking to multiple league executives, saying that he was on the phone, on Twitter, wasn't very attentive during these interview process. Executive said he had a little bit, he basically couldn't tell him anything. I said, JC brought up Dana Holgorsen as his coach. I think that we've done enough interviews with coaches. They always speak very highly of their prospects. To me, that is, they've got a vested interest in making sure that their player gets drafted or gets drafted highly. Andy Reid calls a coach.
Not always.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's here.
And you guys had a chance to talk to Geno Smith personally.
Sure.
And interview him on the phone.
In an interview, yeah.
And after that interview, I think you guys said a lot of positive, glowing things about
And
him.
I thought Geno Smith was going to be the first quarterback taken in the draft. Jason Cole from Yahoo Sports is on the phone. What's up, Jason? How have you been, man?
I am fantastic. What's going on, Dan?
Oh, I don't even know how to describe what happened here. My new co-host, J.C. Pearson, former chief. I'm sure you know him. He's got some questions for you about your Geno Smith story.
No, my only question, Jason, was the executive. And my point was, you know, what good does an executive have to come out and say negative things about somebody's character after the draft? The draft is over. The kid is not a part of your team. So what difference does it make at that point? And if you are going to go on record to make those comments at that point, then be man enough to have your name out there. And if not, then don't make them, because at that point, like I said, the draft is over.
Okay, well, I'm not here to discuss philosophy of whether people should put their names on quotes or not, or what they should or shouldn't say.
Right, but I'm my point though.
So, I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yeah, and I'm just saying, in the instance of character assassination, you know, if it's
right, but I think part of this also is some of them, they see that this kid's not getting it, and he's not getting the message, and I don't think that everybody looks at this as you're trying to tear a kid down to make sure that he fails, but they're also trying to, this is a slap of reality. Like, look, son, we didn't draft you, and there was a reason we didn't draft you, and it doesn't have anything to do with your agents. It has to do with you. And I think that being honest with people, even if it's in this realm, can do the kid a service. Now, ultimately, we'll see how he takes it or not, but this is the truth. Like, the kid was not, bad body language. And here's the other part of it. The kid kept coming away from these interviews thinking he'd nailed it and thinking he had given him a good impression, where it was really just the opposite. And that's why he went number 39. So perhaps, with people saying these kinds of things, they'll sit there and go, oh, it's not really these reasons, it's not all this, it's me.
Right.
And hopefully he takes that to heart and fixes it.
Right. And there could very well be a problem, Jason. I'm not arguing that point at all. All I'm saying is even if those comments had been made prior to the draft, and if you're really trying to help that kid, you would have talked to him then it's all good. But to make those comments after the fact, when he's not your player, I'm assuming, then I'm like, well, are you really helping that guy at that point? Maybe you should talk to the kid. But to make those, in an article that is public information worldwide, then it becomes more, to me, character assassination than help. If you wanted to help him, then talk to him about it before the draft also, and to him. And let me preface that too, Jason, by saying
I'm not arguing. You make a fair point.
Yeah,
maybe people should think about that too. But
right,
my job is to go get information and explain to people what's going on.
Right,
absolutely. I got no problem with you, Jason, whatsoever. And
sure, no problem.
Yeah, and let me preface that too by saying I'm not trying to defend Geno Smith at all. Not trying to defend where he was drafted. None of that. This whole conversation between us just went to a different level about just what we were asking you about. But no, I have no question with you writing that at all.
That's
Your
what I found out, and
right.
It's unfortunate for the kid. He's not getting it. That's all.
Okay, so as we're talking to Jason Cole from Yahoo Sports here, you wanted to do a story to try to explain why Geno Smith, who everybody thought was the #1 quarterback in the draft, why he fell. And you came away with it from talking to people who had interviewed him, and they said the guy basically had smartest man in the room syndrome. He thought he had already learned it. And that anecdote about him being on Twitter and on his phone, that's an unbelievable thing to me. Is that in a situation where there's a bunch of prospects in a room and he's just not taking advantage of that? Can you shed any light on that?
You have it exactly correct.
Okay.
But I don't want to do too much because I don't want to give away,
I understand. You're a good reporter.
Possibly.
I understand.
Yeah, I'm trying to protect the sources here. I think one of the things I didn't really go into this. I wasn't inspired to write this because I wanted to know why he dropped so much. I was more about the news yesterday where he fired his agents in the aftermath of almost ducking out on the second round of the draft. And this kid is just, to me, not handling the fact that he fell very well. And it's not stopping. It's not like he's taking a breath going, okay, I thought I was going to go #1. I fell to 39. Let me take stock and take a breath and, analyze what's going on here. He's, flailing about, basically, and blaming, everybody sort of but himself for what's going on here. And that's what I'm seeing in this situation from Geno Smith. And in, asking those questions around, people, asking questions about what's going on, people are saying, yeah, we don't get it. Why would you fire your agents? Why? This wasn't your agent's fault that you fell. This was we didn't like what we saw, and here's what the problem was.
Talking to Jason Cole from Yahoo Sports, I am one thing that we were also debating is JC said this executive, he says this, he didn't draft him. What does he have to gain by, kind of putting his name out there, and, the character assassination thing, whereas opposed to a guy like Dana Holgerson, who's been around Geno Smith for the last couple of years, why wouldn't we take his word over the executive?
I'm not really much into weighing whose word is better than another's. All I know is this is Circa. Let me just also say this. The guys who we're talking about, the two executives I talked to, they don't necessarily dislike the kid.
Sure.
They're not saying he's a bad kid. They just, when they're sitting there going, can this guy be the quarterback of my football team and take a place that is incredibly special in terms of leadership? They're sitting there going, I'm not sure he's ready. And there are reasons I'm not sure that he's ready to do this. And this is why. And let me explain. They view him as a kid who just, he hasn't matured enough yet. And again, not evil, not, this is not, I don't know, this is not the same thing as somebody who's completely lost maybe at times like Tyrann Mathieu. This is a kid who's got a lot of talent, and he's just not focused and taking advantage of it the way he needs to in a very, very special particular position.
Let's get away from this story, if you don't mind, for a minute. You're very connected down in Miami. The Brandon Albert thing was obviously a huge topic here. How do you think this has all been played out?
The Brandon Albert thing?
Yeah.
I've got some really serious questions about how did his physical go? Things that I'm not getting answered. Because I'll tell you this, the Dolphins have a serious problem at left tackle. And if they think that Jonathan Martin is going to be able to play over there and be successful, I think they're kidding themselves. So I'm really intrigued by what's going to happen here with Brandon Albert, if anything. But I also think that there eventually are going to be 2 or 3 or 4 teams that are interested in him because there are 2, 3, 4 teams out there who are pretending at left tackle. Like Detroit right now is pretending that they have an answer at left tackle in Riley Reef. He is not a left tackle. San Diego's pretending right now that they have an answer at left tackle because they don't. And the Dolphins don't really. But that's typical of what happens after the draft. Teams bring in players thinking, okay, I've got this position solved, I got this position solved. And then they walk them out there on the practice field, and they realize, oh, I don't have an answer here. I mean, JC probably knows that better than I do. That happens an awful lot in this league.
Interesting stuff. Jason Cole from Yahoo Sports. Thanks for hopping on, man. Interesting story about Geno Smith. I appreciate it.
No problem. Anytime. Take care, guys.
Of course. Thanks, Jason. Appreciate it, man. Did you get your questions answered, JC?
Yeah, my question. I didn't have any question. You wanted to bring him on to.
No, Welch booked him.
My only question was, the executive making the comments about the character assassination that I thought, and why? What reason do you even have to do that if it's not your guy? So that's all that was, and then it just went to a whole different level.
Yeah, it sure did.
Yeah, sure did.
You okay?
I'm cool. You?
I'm perfectly fine.
Neither one of y'all sound cool, so let's keep it 100 here. Neither one of y'all sound cool here. Y'all two grown men. Y'all want to argue. I ain't really interested in all that, to be real with you.
I mean, we can argue. We can argue. Grown men can have disagreements, right? That's allowed?
Disagreeing and arguing are two different things. I'm not really interested in arguing.
That's fine. I don't understand why it got so personal and so heated.
Yeah, me either.
Did I?
People can have different opinions, and if you voice them, that's great. They should be great, at least.
I think I've got no problem with it.
Yeah.
Okay.